Hello and welcome back to Fiction Friction, a podcast about books, film and TV, and anything else we might want to talk about. I am one of your hosts, Bill.
And I am another of your hosts, Joe. How are you, Bill?
Hello, how are you doing, Joe, today on this fine whatever day it is?
I'm wonderful. I'm absolutely wonderful. It's miserable, but it is also January, so I don't really know what else to expect. How are you?
I'm not going to say I'm well, because that would be lying. I'm very stressed,
Say
but
the
I
long
always
pause.
I always look forward to these podcast episodes, though, because it just means we can yap for like an hour, an hour and a half,
well,
right,
good.
normally.
I would be sad if you dreaded it. Anyway, today we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts, I think, and that is fantasy and science fiction. What I really wanted to talk about first off was, do you have your sort of earliest memories of interacting with the genre of fantasy or science fiction?
Yeah, I mean, I always go back to my aunt when I was younger. She gifted me a bunch of books from when she was a kid. So she grew up in the 80s and she gave me, it was Matilda, something else, and The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe, which is the one that really got me into the genre. I mean, it's like the classic portal fantasy, isn't it? And then I got into all the films, and then the movie, like the 2005 movie, was coming out when I was like 5, so I was at like the ripe age for it, and it just kind of kickstarted everything for me. What about you?
Well, mine isn't really books. But I have two very, very strong memories of these things. And the first one is watching the original VHSs of Lord of the Rings that my granddad owned. Because that's how old I am. I watch things on VHS.
I had VHS.
And I just absolutely loved them, would watch them on repeat, much to the rest of my family's chagrin, because the rest of my family, apart from my granddad, do not like them at all. And the other is I had a box set of VHSs of the original trilogy of Star Wars, and again, watched that on repeat. Just absolutely loved them. I didn't get to reading fantasy until I was a little bit older, probably about 7 or 8. And the first series I read was the really readily available series that we're not going to talk about because the author of them is a terrible person.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is one of those things that I never got into until I was a teenager because, I mean, no one in like my immediate family is into anything of the sort, really. So that was something I got into late, and I wish I had that as a kid. I remember my uncle taking me to see, I think, like, it was one of the prequels was in the cinema. It was the one, I can't remember which one it was now, but I just remember seeing Jar Jar Binks for the first time, and I was just like, whoa.
What a horrible, horrible memory that must be. You were terrified.
Yeah, but then I didn't like fully get in and watch all of them until I was definitely like way into my teens. But I feel like there's like an overlap for most people of like, I mean, I guess especially our age of like what really got them into it.
Mm. I mean, for me, I just feel incredibly nostalgic even watching like new stuff. Like I remember watching the new season of Andor that came out last year, and just I felt so nostalgic even though it was a brand new product, because it's a series I have watched for more of my life than I haven't, and I'm still getting to watch new and really exciting things in it, so that's just really nice. But we're going to try and avoid today series we've already spoken about, because I'm aware there are some big series that we've already spoken about that are either fantasy or sci-fi. I'm going to avoid talking about Roots of Chaos and The Prior of the Orange Tree, and also Brandy Sandy, because I feel like I've spoken at length about both of those things.
Yeah, me too.
But one series that I really got into when I was about 9 or 10, and I read them for quite a long time, was the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. I absolutely loved this series. I haven't read them all. I feel like I should make it a goal to read them all. But I read a substantial.
There's a lot to get through.
There's 40, I think like 41. I think the last one came out. It came out after Terry Pratchett died, and that was it. No one's gonna take it over, because I don't think anyone could. I just don't think anyone can write the way Terry Pratchett wrote.
Well, it's such a specific tone as well as just like style of writing.
Yeah, so specific. I mean, and also when I say like it's a 41 entry book series. That sounds quite daunting, but they're not overly long. Like, they're not Robert Jordan or Brandon Sanderson
Yeah.
length, and they are funny. Like, they're taking the mick out of the genre as much as they are fully within the genre. And also, it's broken up into like lots of other series, and the entries themselves are pretty episodic. Like, you could pick up the third in like the Death series and just be totally fine. There are 8 sort of little series within those 41 books. There's the Rincewind books, which is, he's the first one, you know, The Colour of Magic. There's Death, there's The Witches, which is my favourite, City Watch, Wizards, Tiffany Aching, which is the YA series that he did, Moist von Lipwig, who was the Going Postal one. I think he only did 2 with him. And then there's a load of others that are more about like the different cultures on the Discworld. I really, really love them as a series. They're really, really fun. And what I like is, if you're in the mood to read something that is like fantasy, but you don't want to have to remember a whole bunch of world building, because basically anything he chucks in there is just for a laugh anyway. They're just really wonderful. And I still, again, feel very nostalgic about them because I read them a lot in my youth.
Yeah, I mean, that's one series that I never fully got into. I read Color of Magic a while ago, and I just never got past that. Not because I didn't love it, because I did. It was just circumstance. But that's a very good choice. Good choice.
Hmm.
My first one, I think we actually have mentioned on the podcast before, but it was you who mentioned it, so I'm going to mention it instead.
Oh, that's fine then. That's fine. You can.
And I'm going to get you to explain the plot, because I'm really bad at explaining
Oh
plots.
no, but I don't remember anything.
I've not read it for like 3 years, so it's been a while. And this is technically sci-fi dystopian. Can you guess what it is? Cozy.
No. A dystopian, cozy science fiction novel. No.
Utopian, maybe.
Oh, is it Psalm for the Wild Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those books so much. Okay.
I'm just really bad at explaining plots, especially when I haven't read them for so long, so I'll let you do that.
Okay. Cannot remember the name of the main character. But they are a tea monk. So it's set in this sort of, it's technically a dystopia, because basically a long time ago everyone agreed that robots and technology shouldn't exist, and so nature has reclaimed the planet, but basically everything's totally fine. Everyone lives in this sort of fantastical green utopia. There's no technology. The main character, whose name I cannot remember, is a tea monk, but they are completely unsure of their purpose in life. They're just sort of going town to town selling tea and stuff like that, when they come across a robot. And robots don't exist, but this robot is sentient, and they're trying to basically figure out humans' purpose, which again is something that, Monk, because the name of the series is Monk and Robot, so I think the main character's name is Monk. So they kind of go on this little very quaint journey to try and figure out humans' purpose on Earth. I love this series so much. But anyway, you talk about it now that I've vaguely explained the plot.
I mean, yeah, I read these a couple years ago now, so that's why I'm so like spotty on details. But I mean, even if I'd read it like a month ago, I still would be. I think they're just kind of like a breath of fresh air compared to everything else I've read. I think it's very rare that you read something that feels, even though I guess it's not a dire circumstance anymore, but they've gone through dire circumstances, that you come out feeling like rejuvenated. It's just such a feel good book, even though there are those kind of raw moments. I just loved it, and they're so short. So if you're looking for something like to, I guess, catch up on your reading goal, they're really perfect for that. I think you can now buy them as like one bigger book. I say bigger book, but it's still probably tiny. But they're brilliant, a brilliant duology. I'd love to read more of this world, and it's gotten me to read more Becky Chambers as well, who's just brilliant in the sci-fi world.
Yeah, I love Becky Chambers. You can buy them together, but it's ugly, so don't. The two by themselves are much prettier. Now, I love how you could definitely deem this a cozy science fiction book. But the thing I'm kind of against with these cozy science fiction and fantasy books is, I read, and this is going to ruffle some feathers because I know it's absolutely loved, Legends and Lattes, and I just did not like it at all because there were no stakes whatsoever. It was a character going around going, "Hello, I'd like to do this, please," and the person them talking to going, "Yeah, sure." And it was that for that many chapters. There were just no stakes for me. But what I love about Psalm for the Wild Bill and Prayer for the Crown Shy is there are stakes, but they're personal. You know, it's this character trying to figure out what they want to do in their life and like what is their purpose. And I love that. Another Becky Chambers novella, which is also wonderful, is To Be Taught If Fortunate. Have you read that one?
I haven't, no.
It is so good. So it's about these astronauts. It's a similar plot to Interstellar in that it's about these astronauts who are going planet to planet to try and find somewhere that is hospitable for humans to live. But it's just about humans' place in like the cosmos and how we interact with nature and stuff like that. It's really wonderful. It's a bit more higher stakes, but again, just wonderful. I love Becky Chambers. I think she's excellent. I need to read her main series that she's done, the Wayfarers series,
Yeah.
which I haven't read, but I've been told is excellent. Another science fiction series that I really like, but is the complete opposite end of the spectrum in that it is not cozy at all in any way, shape, or form, is the Southern Reach trilogy. Oh, it's not a trilogy anymore because he's written another one, but this is by Jeff Vandermeer. It's the first entry is Annihilation.
Yeah.
Have you read any of these?
I read Annihilation just before the movie came out, so it's been a very long time.
Yeah. So I read Annihilation and then I watched the movie, and it's been a while, as you say, but I couldn't. I was remembering the movie more than the book, and the movie's excellent, but it's not an overly faithful adaptation, especially when it comes to the end, because the movie is a standalone, and this is now a 4-book series. I do kind of prefer the movie, but the movie is less weird than the books, and that is saying something because the movie is still quite weird. But they're just so strange. They're like cosmic horror, but set on Earth. They're just so odd and so compelling. There is this anomaly on the coast, and it has been cordoned off by this sort of strange organization called the Southern Reach. I think she's a biologist, is sent in with a team of other scientists to basically try and figure out what the heck is going on. Is it extraterrestrial? What is happening? And we sort of follow on from there. The first book follows the biologist. The second book follows someone working in the Southern Reach. The biologist does then crop up, but you're kind of led to believe that it might not be her, or maybe it is her. I haven't read the third entry, but they're just so odd, but in a really compelling and interesting way. I definitely want to carry on with the series. But he released them over he wrote them all, and then I think they were released like every month or something, which I just think is really interesting. He clearly had such a clear vision for this series. I do want to carry on with them, like I say, but I kind of don't, because I'm worried he's going to fall into that trap where everything is too explained. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want
Yeah.
everything tied up in a neat bow. Sometimes I think things are more compelling and more scary when they're not explained.
It's kind of like in a fantasy if like the magic system is like super, super in depth in the terms that like everything. I think sometimes the unknown makes it a bit more intriguing. It adds that whimsy to it.
Yeah. Well, I have that problem. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about Samantha Shannon, and I spoke about the Bone season last episode, but I am 3 books deep into that series, and I still don't understand how the magic system works. I just sort of go, okay, Samantha, I'm sure you know what you're talking about. When she's explaining it, I'm like, yeah, great. I'm sure you know what's happening here. I have never understood it.
And maybe that's a good thing.
I feel like I'm definitely supposed to understand it, but I don't.
Okay, my next one. I'm looking and I'm just trying to decide which one to talk about. Okay, my next one. I mentioned it in what I was reading in the last episode, but I finished the book now and I absolutely adored it. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman. I think Joe should read this. So everyone, if you're listening, DM Joe and tell him to read it. Dungeon Crawler Carl is kind of having a moment right now. I think it was self-published originally in 2020, 2021, something like that. And then they're being picked up and slowly republished, I think. But this is brilliant. It is so unique. It's basically a lit RPG, which I believe is a literary role-playing game. So it's think Dungeons and Dragons, but like literary. It's so fun. It is fucking hilarious. I was like giggling so much. The audiobook is incredible. If you want to experience this through audio, it's probably the best audiobook I've ever listened to. It's basically about this guy who wakes up one day. His girlfriend's left him. Well, she's left him for a little bit, but he's still looking after her cat until she gets back from holiday. And then the cat gets outside one night and he follows after the cat, and then suddenly all the buildings just like disappear. Everyone on the world dies unless you were outside at like in the middle of the night. And basically there's like this alien that comes into his head. Aliens have taken over, and the whole world, whoever's alive at least, has been put into this dungeon crawler game, and they have to go through levels of this dungeon to survive. And they choose a class, they choose a race. It is very, very meta. It is just brilliant. It's so funny. Um, and I just had so much fun with it. Again, audiobook incredible. It's like super, even though like it's not interactive in the fact like you can join in, it feels interactive, if that makes any sense at all. I just like, if you have at all like a gamer bone in your body, it will be for you. It is brilliant, and I am currently waiting for the second book to arrive.
I did not know the premise of this book, and I did not expect it to be that.
It
I thought
is
they were
so fun.
fantasy. I thought they were
Well,
fantasy.
I would class it as fantasy, like because it's yeah, because it's not like it's a blend of so many things, but like there's so much fantasy in the dungeons in itself with like magic and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just really fun. And it is nonsense because it's supposed to be. But it's really fun.
I have very nearly picked it up several times. However, um, we've only had the American paperbacks in British bookshops, and they've been like 30 quid, and there is no way I'm paying that much for a hardback.
So if I did see the because I went into my local Waterstones the other day to see if they had the sequel, the hardback of the book two, and they did, but it was like 25 quid, and I was like,
Yeah.
I might wait for a bit. It was weird because they had book two and book seven, um, which wasn't useful.
No, that is not useful.
But
But
honestly, the audiobooks are just so much better, so I feel like I might just continue with them.
they are now, I went into Waterstones the other day, they are now being published in the UK, but the covers are exactly the same, which I think is good because I think those covers are really great. I did
Yeah,
get confused because I saw the self-published covers, which are awful.
they're they're
They're
the
really bad.
ones. If it's the ones I'm thinking of, they're the ones that they use on the audiobook still.
Yeah, they are. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think they're quite terrible. I think the hardback covers are really nice, but again, the UK one, now that it's been published over here, is £22, and I'm not paying that much for a book. I refuse. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This is
I did
my
see a
little
TikTok.
protest.
I did see a TikTok the other day of this girl who had the new hardbacks, and they all have like rainbow spines, and they were on her shelf. And someone commented like, "Oh, you have those rainbow books," which normally refers to the Akatar books. And she
Mm.
goes, "No, if you talk about rainbow books, it's that you said it was the Dungeon Crawler Carl books," and I found that quite humorous.
I did see exactly that video, and that the hardbacks are really nice. They are really nice, but
To be fair, and if I'm spending money on a hardback, I want it to look good, so I don't.
yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah, 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 yeah.
It
I
there are a lot
understand.
to commit for. There are a lot to commit. It's a lot of money to. How do I say
You'll get
this?
there. You'll
They're
get there.
pretty, and I'll buy them. I'll buy them once they're not ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to put into just one thing.
Especially when there's like 7, 8 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, like I remember when I was deep in my Song of Ice and Fire phase, I bought all of
Yeah.
the currently published books in hardback, and they were £25 each. So I spent what, £125. I've still got them, and they are really nice, but completely unwieldy. However, if somebody breaks in, I could bludgeon them with one because they
I mean,
are.
if you want to hear the saddest thing ever, you know when they released the deluxe edition of the Hunger Games, like
Yes.
the ones that look like tea bags, um, well, herbal tea almost.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
them
yeah,
on
yeah.
my like main bookshelf downstairs, which is near a window. It's really beautiful, and I was moving stuff and catching fire. Half of it is now sun bleached. It is completely
Oh
different color, and I've
no.
just realized, and it looks awful, and I don't know what to
Oh
do because I can't
no.
just move the shelf. Um, so I'll have to post a picture of it, but I'm just gutted. To be fair, I have another book as well that has a pot. Like it's one of my faced out ones, but then there's a pot like bookending it so it doesn't fall off. And just like the top half is bright yellow, and then you take it out and it is white. It's so funny, but
Oh,
adds
that
character.
is sad. You don't have a lot of luck with books on your bookshelf, do you? Like, there's that, and
Do you
there's the
remember
ones
that
that
one that fall
fell
apart?
apart. Yeah.
That was wild. I think what book was that? I think it was Juniper and Thorn. It was the US edition. I just picked it up and it was just completely
Yeah.
crumbled.
For some reason, I got it in my head that it was, or was this that it came delivered like this, that it was Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and it came and it was just
Yeah,
destroyed.
yeah. That
Oh,
was years
shame.
ago when I was doing a video. It was like a giveaway with
Mm,
HarperCollins, and I was
mm.
like trying to show it off, but the book was just falling apart. Oh, very
Oh,
funny.
do you remember? Well, you must remember because I get likes on a comment that I left on it. It was and this is not the sort of content you would make now, but it was the restacking my bookshelves, and it was the one where you're just like throwing them on the shelf. I still get likes
I
on my
get
comment
comments
on
on
that.
it every single day, and then I do get some people. I'm just like, Bill, what is this that you keep on back? And it's very funny.
Some
I do think maybe I should do that again because it was great engagement.
Would you do it though? I couldn't. I
I do it
couldn't.
with my own books. I feel like that would be less controversial.
Yeah.
If you
Also,
don't
you've
know what I'm
got
talking about, by
enough.
the way, I used to be a bit of a troll when I started Booktok, and I used to just throw books into a shelf and say I'm reorganizing, and people would believe me. Um, so yeah.
Mm.
But they have like 10
Sometimes,
million views, some of those videos. It's wild.
mm. Sometimes I will comment on a post, and that comment will just continuously get likes, and
Yeah.
my notifications will be flooded with likes for this one comment, to the point where at one point I just deleted the comment because I was so sick of it. I was like, don't like this, go and like my actual content that I spend
Yeah.
time on.
It's because it'll go
Anyway,
quiet and then the video will get an influx of views because that's just the algorithm sometimes.
yeah,
It's
who are
weird. I
we
don't get
to
it.
understand the ways of the algorithm? Anyway, that was completely off topic. Something I wanted to ask you is, do you think that um, Greek mythology retellings count as fantasy?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, okay, because I get that that's like a whole like subsect of a genre, and it technically is, you know. Well, if you went to find Madeline Miller's books, they would not be shelved in the fantasy section, would they? They'd
I
be in
guess
the
because they're
fiction
a bit
section.
more literary, but like if you
Yeah.
think of something like Girl Goddess Queen, you think of Lies We Sing to the Sea.
Mm.
Um, I feel like yeah, maybe the YA stuff normally leans a bit more towards like fantasy, but also maybe that's just like kind of what's the word? Like I don't even know, but I do think of it and I'm thinking of like adult Greek mythologies, and they do, even though maybe they are fantasy, they do kind of tend to put them in just like general fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of like Madeline Miller, Song of Achilles less so, but Circe, like there are sea monsters and she turns people into pigs, and that's definitely fantastical. Song of Achilles less so, I think. That is less fantastical. But Jennifer Saint, her stuff is very fantastical. I really like Jennifer Saint, and I don't feel like she gets spoken about enough
Hmm.
when we talk about Greek mythology retellings. You know, as much as I adore Madeline Miller, like I love her, I feel like we should give Jennifer Saint her flowers as well, because I absolutely loved Ariadne. Like I think after Circe, which it will always, I think, be the like top tier, like gold standard for Greek mythology retellings. I think Ariadne is up there. I thought it was absolutely excellent.
Hmm.
That was really great.
Maybe it's now that I think about it, maybe it is just all like kind of stereotype that like kind of the maybe stigma's not the right word about fantasy. Like people kind of see it
Mm,
as like lower, like not as proper reading, which I hate.
mm,
Um, and like Greek mythology sometimes just doesn't fit that ball.
mm.
Like,
Well, do you think because it's Greek mythology and we, you know, we when we say that term, it requires, you know, like you think of like Cambridge and Oxford and stuffy classrooms and
maybe,
like, you know, it's got like historical weight to it. Do you think
yeah,
it's a snobbery? I do think it kind of comes from a snobbery around the genre because
100%.
I mean, also Jennifer Saint and Madeline Miller, their writing is a lot more lyrical and maybe allegorical, and you can maybe say that that leans more towards literary. But again, Cersei has like she turns someone into a sea monster. Like that
Yeah.
is very fantastical.
It's all where the publisher puts them as well, because it's down to them where it's stacked. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like, I mean, definitely like the Madeline Miller stuff. I'm pretty sure about the Jennifer Saint stuff, but I'm thinking of other stuff like I think there's Medea. I forget who writes it, but like Rosa Hewlett, I think it is. They're I think all like fiction imprints, so
Mm,
they're obviously curated to be more literary or to appeal to that kind of literary crowd rather than like the fantasy crowd, which of recent years has become a bit more commercialized, and that
mm,
maybe doesn't seem as commercial. Saying that, like they're still ridiculously popular, but they kind of feel like they have different audiences.
mm. Do you think the Greek mythology fad is over?
I feel like it's kind of hit its peak in terms of like everyone wanting to read it. It's kind of like having conversations with publishers and editors of the past year. It's kind of like what's happened with Dark Academia, kind of had its moment the past couple of
Mm,
years, and now it's kind of slowly dying out. It doesn't mean that it's not going to have its popular moments. Like, doesn't mean a book can't get popular, but it's not going to be like publishers don't want to keep buying more and more of it because they know there's kind of like a ceiling right now. But
yeah.
that's just like trends. It happens with everything. It happened with
Mm,
dystopian in the early 2010s. The same with like vampires, the late 2000s. They're all, and then vampires are coming back again. I think dystopian's going to have a moment soon. It just goes in waves, doesn't it?
yeah, we're in the romanticy period now, aren't we?
But I think
Like
that's
that
coming
is
to an end, but it's also become so saturated that so many people got into reading because of romantasy. I think it's gonna stay a little bit longer than most of the other, like, quote, unquote, "fads."
yeah.
I do think we're gonna see a bit more experimentation with sort of, like, other genres, like, I think we're already seeing kind of like that horror, romance sort of stuff, which is really fun. I love a genre blend, so I'm all down for it.
Yeah, and also romantasy, I think. I mean, I've never well, that's not true. I have read romantasy books, but I think I read them before the term became before it really existed.
Mhm.
Like I've read Divine Rivals. I think that might
Yeah.
be the only one. Um,
Divine
I
Rivals is
feel like
brilliant.
it's
Yeah.
it's great. I never read the sequel because I just wanted it to be standalone. um, but I really liked it. Loved the aesthetic, loved the ideas. It's a lot broader, I think. A lot broader. You can do a lot more with it. Like that was kind of like a more urban fantasy, whereas you've got these other ones which are a lot more high fantasy. So I think it's a lot broader. I think you can do a lot more with it. So yeah,
Yeah, it's all down to preference as well. Like, I know for me, my taste in romantasy is the romantasy where it is more of like fantasy with romance, and that's what I like to write as well.
mm.
I'm not a huge fan of where it's just like clearly a romance book that was just placed into a fantasy world. Um,
See,
all
that is
power
what
to you
I
if you
think
love that.
romantasy is. Like I
It
think
can be, but then I read some other books. Like I know Rachel Gillig's stuff is definitely not that, and that's huge. So
mm,
who knows?
mm. Uh, see, in my eyes, and this is coming from someone who has not read it at all, like read any of the genre at all, romantasy has to be like a pretty even split because if not, where do you draw the line? Like
Yeah,
both the Roots of Chaos books have romance in them. Do you call those romantasy?
no. I
No.
think it's just because 'cause they're so dense, and it's not
Yeah.
for that sort of demographic, isn't it? I feel like
Yeah.
romantasy especially had its moment on TikTok because a lot of romance readers got into that, like, fantasy because of romantasy, which was basically romance reskinned, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and great. I mean, I'm all for people getting into new genres. I think romantasy has kind of saved the book industry in some sort of sense. Like the amount of people reading now compared to 5 years ago, I think it's
Mm,
definitely increased because these new genres, I say they're not new genres we're creating, but like ones that have become really popular. I mean, imagine 5 years ago saying that you could go into a bookstore and find like a romantasy section, you could find a new adult section.
mm.
People will be like, yeah.
Well, there's this girl, isn't there? I feel like we should talk about it because it's. Have you seen the video? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it the girl who's, like, talking about,
You
um
bitches on Booktok.
oh, yeah, I did see
That
this,
girl.
yeah.
Um, the thing is, and I've spoken to some people about this, and they're like, "Why are you getting so irate? She's right." And I'm what I say in response to that is I'm not really interested in whether she's right or wrong. What I don't think breeds a healthy discussion is by coming on to a social media platform and belittling people and calling them bitches and just being rude about their reading tastes. Because do you know what? Someone else's 1 star is someone else's 5 star, I just think. And I think it's very reductive to say that she's someone as well who has openly admitted that she likes Fourth Wing, she likes Sarah J. Maas. And that's not really the issue I suppose she's talking about. She's not saying all romantasy is killing reading, but you will get people in the comments who go completely hyperbolic and go, romantasy is killing literature, people aren't buying litfic anymore. And it's like, that's not true at all. Like, you go into Waterstones and the entire downstairs is general fiction. Like, it's not true. So and again, this is someone who does not read romantasy at all. I'm kind of sick and fed up with people blaming it for the entire downfall of literature when I think these genres can, like you say, be credited with really getting people back into reading and helping people find what they like to read. So I just think it's, again, as always on the internet, a conversation that has completely lost all nuance. And I'm not really interested in who is right and who is wrong. I'm interested in the way we go about having these conversations, because I saw another creator say, like, we've all seen the video, this is what I agree with, this is what I think I don't agree with. And I was like, yes, this is a much better way to go about it, is just having a discussion about these things rather than coming onto a platform and calling people bitches and calling them dumb. I just don't think that is the way we go about having a conversation about these things.
Yeah. I think like the tone is just the key thing here. Like I can agree that some stuff that publishers put out is like some subpar stuff, but also I'm never going to shame someone for reading what they're reading, because at least they're reading. Like, I'd
Mm.
much rather them be reading than doing whatever else. I think it's such an important thing. It's obviously, we've had this discussion before, reading is political, it is a privilege. And I think if more people are doing it, yeah, hell yeah. Um, so I'm never going to judge people for what they read. I might judge people for the authors they read if they're bad people.
Yeah,
But
100%.
but yeah, I just think the argument is silly. Like being a bookseller, being in the book world, being in so many different avenues of the book space and each both sides of the publishing industry. When I was a bookseller, I most of the books that we sold were litfic. Like the still the main demographic of readers are 40 plus. Like there's a lot of people younger who read now because of TikTok, but most older people are reading sort of like litfic stuff. So it's not like it's dying out. Last year, was it Intermezzo came out? It was like, I can't remember what number it was on like the bestseller list, but it was up there. That's litfic.
Mm.
I just don't understand the argument. Like, let people read what they want to read. I just
Yeah,
don't get
that's
it.
the thing. It's always books that has this problem. If somebody solely watched reality television, you wouldn't tell them, no, you must go and watch Citizen Kane. Like, people consume media for different reasons. And yes, do I think that only reading to, like, shut your brain off sometimes can't be, not necessarily harmful, but not as enriching. You know, the thing I love about reading is reading about different worldviews, about lives that aren't exactly the same as mine. But when you start telling other people what to read and kind of policing what they read, that's kind of just as bad. Are there any fantasy series or sci-fi series you haven't started or read that you would like to?
I mean, I mean, Song of Ice and Fire, I never got round to, and I feel like at this point I'm probably not going to. I really would love to, but it's just such a commitment, and I think my big commitment is going to be the Wheel of Time,
Mhm.
just because I've already started that one. So, I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. Is there anything you can think of?
Yeah, I have quite a few. But I suppose what you could do is, like, you could spend 6 months of the year reading one Song of Ice and Fire and then 6 months of the year reading one Wheel of Time and just alternate between the two.
That
But
sounds so
also,
depressing.
I'm not going to carry on with. I've read. You know, when they released the UK paperbacks for the last, like, three, they split them in half.
Yeah.
I've read the first half of the last one, and I haven't read that last, because the last one they brought out was tiny. Haven't read that one. And I don't think I will until he releases at least one more entry. Because I'm not going to, he doesn't value my time. Why should I value his? That is a joke. I am joking. No, I just don't really see. I'm one of those people where the conclusion of a story is really important to me.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to carry on. Because I was really holding out hope for maybe by the time I reach the end, he will have released another one. Because I read them quite a while ago now. I read them at least 6 or 7 years ago. I read them when I was late teens, early 20s. So that's, at least 8 years ago I started them. So yeah. Come
yeah,
on, George, you can do it. We believe in
yeah.
you.
Oh, I do actually. The Robin Hobb stuff. I've read The Assassin's Apprentice and I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
she's on my
again,
list.
it's such like a big. I mean, there's the trilogy, but then there's a lot of like extended. I think other trilogies and stuff.
Mm.
My UK publicist Tina, she's just gone through all of them and she just raves about them, and it makes me jealous because she'll post a new picture each time she finishes one. I'm just like, oh, but
Yeah.
they're
No,
huge as well, so it's
everyone
scary.
raves about them. Well, the thing is they're huge, but they start off quite okay.
Yeah,
Like Assassin's Apprentice is, I think, just over 300 pages,
yeah, it's
which I haven't
very
read at
easy to
all.
read. Yeah, it's
But
you would love it. You would love. Yeah.
I will, but I'm going through a anti first person phase. I just don't want to read books in first person. I'm so sorry. I am aware that you're currently editing a book that's in first person.
Honestly, I just, you know what? I never used to write in first person, but then I was writing Let's Split Up, my trad pub debut, and it was while I was in uni studying film and screenwriting, and scripts, if you didn't know, are in first person. And so I was writing my novel in third person and scripts in the day in first person, and I was getting so confused that I just switched everything to first person because I was messing everything up. So that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm reading at the moment is Minor Black Figures by Brandon Taylor, his new book that comes out in March, I think. And it's in third person. And I just love third person. I don't, but I feel like people are really going hard for first person at the moment. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's, an inkling to want to read people's more personal stories or something. I'm not sure, but I miss third person. I'm a bit over first person now. I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't tell you why I'm over it, but I just am. I just
Yeah, I
am.
mean, it all really depends on the story for me. I think the reason I write it in the moment, because I'm pretty much everything I'm writing right now is multi POV, which lends itself really well to first person because you're really getting into those characters' heads. That's not to say you don't have to do first person. Like Six of Crows multi POV is third person and it's brilliant. Um, it's just one of those things.
Mm.
But
Well,
I have noticed a lot of books published today, especially marketed towards the Booktok crowd, are first person, which is really interesting.
well, there's that thing, isn't there, that Henry James was firmly against first person, like hated it, hated it, hated it. And then he wrote a horror short story or novella. He wrote Turn of the Screw, and it's in first person. So I think that's another reason you probably write in first person. For horror, I think it can be very effective.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Third person narrators in horror, they kind of know everything that's going on. So I think it kind of removes that a little bit.
For sure. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Another one I really want to read is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This is
yes, me too.
yeah. Uh, l- Everything people say about N.K. Jemisin is that she's absolutely incredible. What's putting me off slightly is I think I started with the wrong one. I started with a book she wrote called The City We Became, and I
Oh,
just
I don't
could
think
not
that's
make.
even linked, is it?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh.
Couldn't make head nor tail of what was going on, so I'm just a bit worried that I'll go into that and it'll be the same. But no, I've heard nothing but good about this series. This is the one that starts with the fifth season.
Yes. I do
Yeah,
have that somewhere actually.
I have that, and I have her other trilogy. But again, too scared to start them. They feel too daunting. Um, Another one I really want to read is The Will of the Many by James Islington.
I've read that. Haha.
Okay, well, is it worth it? Should I
It's
read it?
really good. Yeah, it's really good. I've not read the sequel yet. But the first one God, it was when it blew up a couple years ago, right? Was it last year?
I think it
No,
came
it's
out
got
in
to be 2 years ago.
2023.
Yeah, so it's been a while, so I'm gonna have to reread it before I read the second one, but it is really good.
Well, I was looking on Wikipedia to get a general summary of it so I can explain what it is. And there's a full plot summary on there. So you can just read that.
Okay, tick. I think that's kind of when you know you've made it, like when your book's got a full plot summary.
Yeah, God bless the
People
people
have
who do full plot summaries on Wikipedia. God, like,
that.
my heart goes out to you. You are doing God's work.
That's why I always love. There's a couple of authors who go on their website and they will put like a recap for the
Mm.
previous book when a new book in the series comes out. Susan Denner does it. Love her for that. Um, yeah, I mean, I wish I could do it, but I really can't be asked.
I mean, your books are less huge,
For now,
for want of a better word. This
I
is
shouldn't say
when
naturally. I'm
this
not
is
going to
when
say anything.
the last in your trilogy is 800 pages long.
It's not going to be 800 pages long, but it's like over 100K right now, so I'm scared.
100,000 pages.
No words.
I know, I know. But the One of the Many seems really interesting to me because I suppose it's again slightly different. Like it's not medieval fantasy world. It's like Roman Empire esque, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. See, that seems really interesting.
it's just unique. Like
Mm.
again, I will always support and like just like a book that's doing something different. That's why I really like Dungeon Crawler Carl because it just doesn't feel like anything else I've read right now.
He has got a more traditional fantasy series as well. I think trilogy. The first one being The Shadow of What Was Lost. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm glad that the absolute outrage when they announced the Strength of the Few
Yeah.
and the new cover forced them to do that reversible cover. Good.
Mhm.
Bullying works
But I'm
sometimes.
pretty sure like the number of the series or something doesn't line up on the spine still though, which would annoy me.
Yeah. It's better than nothing. Um, but the absolute audacity of them being like, yeah, it's only the second entry in a series, but you can buy the first one in hardback now too, and it'll match. It's like, no, I've already spent 20 quid on a hardback.
Mhm.
How dare you? I
Oh
suppose they kind
dear.
of did the same thing with the Bone season, though. And I suppose the
But that was
second
for a
one in
good
the series,
reason.
yeah, they were boring, those first covers. I suppose the second one in the series is less egregious than doing it 5 entries down the line, like they did with that. However, I think they are doing, and admittedly, a very limited run of
Yeah.
covers for the last 3 books that will match the first lot of
Yeah, I did
covers.
see that.
So
I mean,
that's good of them.
it's very nice of them, but I feel like that's just because of who Samantha Shannon is. I feel like most authors wouldn't get that privilege.
No, 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 they wouldn't. They wouldn't. I mean, most authors wouldn't get the privilege of having that series redone anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, but also they look so much better.
they do. They did
They look
such a good job.
so
They're
much better.
beautiful. Yeah, they look great on my shelf.
So much better. Do you have any other series you haven't started that you want to?
Um, um, I mean, I've got one that I haven't finished yet, which I want to like. I was going to talk about it today. The first Sister trilogy. I've only read book one, and it is one of my favorite sci-fi books ever. It is absolutely incredible. UK covers are the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life, but the US covers are gorgeous. Um, I read it in like 2022, fell in love with it, and I just loved it so much that I was scared to read any more of them. Um, they're brilliant. They're really dark, very bleak, sort of like dystopian sci-fi. Um, but if you want something just like really harrowing in like a really I don't even know if uplifting is like the right word because it is a dystopian after all. They're just incredibly written. Lyndon A. Lewis has a new book coming out, I think, this year too. Um, and if you don't know their stuff, I think they're definitely an author to look out for. But I'm definitely going to be reading more of theirs.
Have you read any V.E. Schwab?
We, I have quite a few books actually.
Wee!
No,
I
I
yeah.
read. I'm trying to remember now. I originally read A Darker Shade of Magic in 2017. It's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
OG.
9
Um,
years ago.
that's crazy, isn't it? No, I still remember because it was before Booktok and everything. It was A Dark Shade of Magic was often talked about on BookTube, which I was a vast lover of. And I tried to be a booktuber back in the day, and I did a 24-hour readathon and read A Darker Shade of Magic.
Wow. Wow. I love A Darker Shade of Magic. I really did. I didn't love the second one as much, but I don't really remember that much about it. But they get bigger as they go on. Like I liked the first one because its length felt like a good length, but
Oh, A Conjuring of Light
she's
is incredible. It's so
mm.
good.
But it's not a trilogy anymore now, is it? Or is it's going to be
I've still
2
not read.
trilogies?
Yeah, I've still not read the newest one.
Fragile Threads of Power?
Yes. I'm trying to remember. I've read Gallant, which like a vast like change of pace. It reminded me of like Coraline in a sense. It just had that sort of
Yeah.
vibe.
Well, it's like a
Um,
YA horror novel, isn't it?
yeah.
I loved it until at the end it was like, if we don't stop the evil man, the whole world will die. And I was like, oh, you had like a nice little, like, I suppose that's maybe like her fantasy background, like coming into it a little bit. And so she has to up the stakes. But it was like a nice sort of horror book up until then. And then the stakes just got kind of too big towards the end. But I did really like it.
I just remember when it came out, I went to Waterstones because I was really excited to get it, and it is the ugliest shape book ever. It is a hardcover, but like a completely different size to any other hardcover you've ever seen in your life. So it looks stupid on the shelf.
Not true, William. Not true.
It is. Mine is.
I have loads of hardcovers that size.
Nuh-uh.
Loads.
Well, I don't. I'm normal. So yeah, I feel like I've read something else of Ishwa, but I'm forgetting.
Have you read Vicious?
I haven't, but I know I'd love it. I definitely as a teen I would have loved it. But that trilogy is finally finishing this year as well. I do want to read Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil because I know that's going to be a bit of me.
See, I didn't like Vicious that much, but nobody else seems to agree with me. So,
Vicious is like her magnum opus to most people.
Yeah, people love it, but I thought it was far too rushed. I'm sure you'll probably really like it because you're a lot less contrarian than I am.
You're just very particular, and
I
am.
I am. The thing with me was the pacing was too much. Like she wanted to keep everyone interested, and sure, that's fine. That works for some people, but for me, it was like slight spoilers, but also this is the premise of the book. The main character's like, I want to be a superhero, so now I'm a superhero. Now I'm going to go out and do other things. So it didn't work for me. I still have it, and I might still read the next one, but yeah, I didn't like that
We've
one as much.
forgotten V. Schwab's biggest book.
Have we?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a minute.
The Savage Song?
No, I love that book, but no.
I don't know.
What is their biggest book?
I don't
Ghosts.
know.
Actually,
Ghosts?
they have a book called City of Ghosts, but it's not City of Ghosts.
I don't know. I don't know her like YA like earlier stuff.
Addie LaRue.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, it's because it feels so different. I think. I love Addie LaRue. I loved that book so much.
I have a personalized copy of Addie LaRue down there.
I have a normal hardback copy of Addie LaRue. Where is my copy of Addie LaRue? Oh, it's there. I would have looked straight at it when you were like, we haven't talked about her biggest book. Yeah, no, I think it's because it feels so different and it's fairly grounded in the real world, even though this woman is like living forever. No, I love that book. I should definitely reread it. I loved it.
That's one I want to reread. I read that like during like the peak of COVID, so it's been a very long time.
I loved that book. And again, it feels very different because it's not like high octane or full of action in the way that like her other big fantasy series are. It feels a lot more grounded.
Yeah, for sure.
I really loved that book. Really loved that book. Anyway, William, what's one thing you've been reading at the moment?
I'm so happy to talk about this.
I know what you're going to talk about. I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm back reading again. So I finished Dungeon Crawler Carl last week, and then I went on to Wild Dark Shore by, is it Emily McGonaghy? No, Charlotte McGonaghy. It is so brilliant. I'm nearly done with it. It is a thriller, but it is also so much more than that. It's a mystery. It's a real character piece on this family and this woman. And it's also like kind of unreliable because it's multi POV as well, but like you just don't know who to believe, which is brilliant. I've never read any of Charlotte's stuff, but this one's been on my radar for a bit. I saw it a lot on like BookTube, especially a lot of people that I like casually watch, and then it won Best Fiction at the Goodreads Choice Awards. So when I was looking for something else to read, I was like, oh, I'll pick this up. And it's just got sort of like a quality to it that just feels like really special, like for that genre. It's like very literary, but also not. It's not like I can't describe it. It's a mystery, but literary, a
Can
literary
you
mystery.
explain the premise for
Yes, I will.
those who do not know,
Um,
i.e., me?
Basically, it is about this family. It's this father and his three kids who seem to have like quite, especially some of them have quite a strained relationship. Um, and they live on this island in, I think it's like a cold place. It's they're Australian, but I don't think it's anywhere near Australia. Somewhere. Um, and there used to be this research station with a bunch of scientists on this island to track whatever science stuff. But they get sent away because in 6 weeks, so I forgot to say as well, the dad of this family is like the caretaker for the island as well. But in 6 weeks, they're going home because soon the water is gonna like overtake the island and it's gonna be underwater, so they have to leave. But one day, this woman basically washes up on shore, like on the brink of death. Um, and she's just a bit suspicious. They nurse her back to life and like she stays on the island, but the dad's refusing to call for help for her. She seems to have ulterior motives. They seem to be hiding stuff as well, and it is a lot. Um, but just like I'm reading it and it's like kind of changing my life. It is brilliant. There's just so much more to it than just like a normal thriller.
Mm. No, she's excellent. I've only read one of hers, but this has been on my radar for a while because it came out in the US a lot earlier than it came out here. It's only just come out here, I think, towards the end
Yeah.
of last year. But I read Migrations by her last year, which just was absolutely excellent. So, Migrations is about a woman who is trying to find what will probably be the last migration of the Arctic tern because we are several years in the future and she's part of a group that are basically trying to save endangered species. It was you think it's one thing, but it turns out to be another. It's absolutely excellent, and I really, really want to read this book because I just loved Migration so much, and I would
I mean,
recommend that one
yeah.
heavily.
You say that a lot of those themes are in Wild Darkshore as well.
Mm,
There's a lot of like geological stuff as well, which I found really interesting. But I'm really intrigued to see how it's going to end. So
yeah.
definitely recommend it.
Well, don't tell me because I really do want to read it.
Okay, noted.
Anyway, the thing I have been reading is Strange Buildings by Uketsu.
I want to read that.
Have you read the first two?
No, but I still want to read it.
They're kind of standalone. You don't really have to, but I would recommend going in order just because they are fun. So Uketsu is this sort of figure in Japan. He's kind of like a social media figure. Nobody really knows who he is. The mask he wears is absolutely terrifying. It's that like paper mache mask with like the eye holes, and it's horrible. Looks a bit like a no mask, maybe.
Yeah,
It's horrible. The first one's called Strange Pictures, and you think it's a creepy collection of short stories that then turn out to be related. You have to kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit for them, and they're marketed more as horror, whereas I think they're more thriller, mystery books.
interesting.
But they're super, super fun. Very silly, but also very dark. This one it's slightly different. It's like twice the length of the first two. It's about 400 pages. And the author, basically, after releasing the second book, it's written from the perspective of the author, but you're kind of led to believe that this all really happened, but of course it didn't, because they're all too silly for it actually to have happened. But basically, the second book in the series is all about floor plans and how this mystery comes out about a floor plan of a house. And then for this third book, which comes out next month, people then come to the author to try and solve, oh, there's a weird thing in my floor plan. And then these 11 different cases, which he thinks are unrelated, all turn out to be related to the same case. Like I say, they're very silly, but they're very fun. And when you actually kind of figure out the mystery before it gets revealed, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
They're they're just very fun. I sat down to read it. As I said to you yesterday, I've got a lot of unreleased books that come out in February, and I'm getting a bit overwhelmed. So I needed to get through them. But I sat down yesterday morning, and this book is 380 pages long, but I read it all yesterday because it was
Wow.
just so fun and I wanted to see what happened. But yeah, I highly recommend them. This one is a lot darker. It goes into some like sexual assault and stuff like that. So just a little trigger warning there. It's a lot darker, but they are very, very fun and a little bit silly. Like I say, you do have to kind of suspend your belief a little bit as you read them. And it does that thing that I'm not always overly satisfied with in mystery, where somebody speculates something and then that just turns out they just take that as fact and go on from there, rather
Yeah.
than it actually being proved by like evidence or anything like that. And that's what I mean when I say you have to kind of suspend your belief with them a little bit, but they're just very fun. They're very fun and very
Mhm.
silly.
Interesting. Yeah, the covers always strike me every time I see them in the bookstore,
The
and I've
covers are
picked it up multiple times.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and I've just never brought them home, but I definitely will. I think I'm kind of in that sort of zone right now, so it's definitely something I want to read.
Mm. Well, they're still in trade paperback at the moment, which means they're
Yeah.
like $12.99. And the first two, anyway, took me like an afternoon to read, so I would not worry about getting them yet. Wait until they're in normal paperback, because the covers will be the same. Because the covers are like part of the reason why I think these books have been so big. Like they
Yeah,
are so big. These books are huge. They've done so well, and I think the covers are part of the reason for that, because the covers are gorgeous.
for sure.
Anyway, what is one thing you've been watching?
Well, I tried to check my letterbox, but for some reason my keyboard's not working, so I can't remember. But I watched a movie the other day and I can't remember what it was, but
Well,
I
it
think
clearly left a really strong impression.
it was something new as well. What was it? I will say, I've been watching the new Percy Jackson show with my family. We've only watched 2 episodes so far, but I mean, this is season 2, by the way. I think it's doing a really good job at, like, staying true to the books. Like, they defeat some monsters with Emotions by Mariah Carey. They It's stupid, but in, like, a really good way. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's nothing incredible. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an adaptation of Percy Jackson. Like, there's only so much you can do with that. Not to say I love the Percy Jackson books. It's fun. What the hell was this movie that I watched? Um,
See,
yeah,
I'm sad that I never had a Percy Jackson phase. Like, they just
see, Percy
weren't.
Jackson was my Harry Potter, that's why.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think because you're three years younger than me,
Mhm.
I think had I been born 3 years later, I would have had the Percy Jackson phase. But they just weren't a thing when I was growing up. They
Yeah,
just
makes
they
sense.
just weren't they just weren't a thing. Like, you weren't buying brand new books for kids when I was little. You would go to the library, but they just weren't. Like, when did the first one come out? When did the first Percy Jackson book come out?
I wanna say 2005?
Yeah, see, I would have been 8.
Was it 2005? I don't know.
The Lightning Thief. Yes, it was 2005. I would have been
Yeah.
8, and I just feel like I kind of missed the boat on them. But everyone feels so nostalgic for them, and I've tried to read them as an adult, and I just can't do it. And what I don't want is to force myself to read them as an adult and hate it, and then just hate them. So I'm perfectly happy to just be ambivalent towards
Yeah. The
them.
thing is with Percy Jackson that's really interesting is that, like, I feel like some series that end up doing a lot of, spin-offs, the original series, like, just stays the best, but I've read quite a few of the spin-offs now, and I think they're all better than the last. Like, I read the Magnus Chase trilogy for the first time last year, and they're really good. Like, like, quality-wise, obviously, he's been writing for so long now, but they're just a lot more fun, I don't know.
Mm.
I know the show's fun. It's again nothing groundbreaking, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's definitely a family thing, and I mean, I'm watching it with my little brother as well, so it's like right in his bag.
Mm. Did you remember the movie that you watched?
No, I don't know
Oh,
what's
hang
wrong.
on. Right, right.
Can you go on
Let
my
me go on
letterbox?
let me go on Letterboxd, and I will tell you the movie that you watched.
I can't remember what it was. It's gonna as soon as you say it, I'll be like, yeah, of course. I feel like it was a newer thing.
Right. I'm in.
I nearly did watch the new Predator, but then I didn't have time.
Bill.
But I do. I am gonna watch that.
How do I look at my friends? Network? Haha, here we go. This is fun. This will be fun for the listeners. Activity. You watched Galaxy Quest,
Oh, I did. That was not a new film.
and you watched
Uh,
you watched The Housemaid.
oh, I did. Okay, I can talk about those. The Housemaid, fun. Very faithful to the books. Freedom McFadden was a producer, so it makes sense. Again, nothing incredible. I think it actually works better as a film. Um, I think the book is probably better, but like it just lends itself really well to a film. It's very fast paced, very like OMG, what's going to happen? Especially because I couldn't remember the twist. Amanda Seyfried, best part of the film. She was
Can
acting
we
her ass off.
park McFadden? I want to talk about her in a second. Can we park her?
Okay. I just want to say I watched Galaxy Quest as well, which I'd never watched before. I was because obviously we had talked about Avatar just before Christmas or just after Christmas, whenever we talked about it. And then I was watching, when the actors will do promo and I forget which YouTube channel they do it with, but it's like they go through their career on like a timeline. And
Oh yeah,
Sigourney
it's like
Weaver
Vanity
was
Fair or
yeah,
something like
Sigourney
that.
Weaver was talking about Galaxy Quest. And I was like, oh, I would love Galaxy Quest. So I watched it and it was really
Yeah.
fun. It's like super meta. It's basically it's like alluding to like Star Trek actors, like it's like a parody of that. But it's called Galaxy Quest, and they're at like a Comic Con, and basically these real aliens were watching this show thinking it was real, and they take, I think it's Tim Allen. Is it? Yeah, Tim Allen. And they're like, "Hey, can you be our captain?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Not realizing that they're actually aliens, and it's stupid, but it is very fun.
See, if that movie came out today, it probably would be terrible.
It would probably bomb as well because people
Yeah,
won't go and see stuff that's not generic shit. So
yeah,
that's frustrating.
yeah. Anyway, the thing I wanted to say was, have you heard about this theory that the person who you see as Frida McFadden is actually an actress?
Yeah.
Isn't
Well,
that
it's either that.
wild?
Yeah. Well, it's really hard to believe sometimes that is it a neurosurgeon that she is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She's a
yeah,
neurosurgeon that she wears this crazy wig so she
yeah.
doesn't get recognized by her patients, and sometimes apparently prosthetics as well. But also like, it's just really hard to believe how. I mean, a lot of the books that she's published in the past couple of years are republished from when she was indie pub, which makes sense. That's why she's got like a new book every 3 months. Like she's not writing that many books a year, but she's still like she's got a new book coming out I think next week, and she only had a new book out a couple months ago, and it's just even when you're because she's still working 1 day a week. I saw her on, I think she was on like Good Morning America or something the other week.
Mm.
She's like, she still has to work 1 day a week to keep up like her doctor license, which good for her. And she's like, I don't want to give it up anyway, because like as soon as you give it up, you'd have to go back to school when you want to do it again. I don't know. I I feel there's something there that I'm just really confused about.
Yeah.
But
But not
also
being
like,
funny, William, if you wore a wig, I would still know it was you.
yeah, that's the thing. But also, it makes sense, like her like reasoning for if it is true, which I think it probably is true. Like her just like wearing a wig to like hide from patients or make it because like some of the things that she writes is a bit questionable because she does write quite a few medical-y books. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, you wouldn't really want your doctor to be writing that shit.
But
Um,
maybe it's just all one big publicity stunt because, like, here we are talking about it. Here, the whole internet, like, she's had her moment. Like, people have been talking about,
and
especially
she's
since the movie's come out, because she's been doing red carpets and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I am a very into. I have a subscription to the Bookseller, which is like the UK publisher press thing in the UK, and you can see every day there's like the rights announcements for the new rights, people moving between publishers, new appointees, and then they also have like the bestsellers list, and every week they will put out a new magazine with the bestsellers, just bunch of different information, what's coming soon, and then they'll also have every so often, especially in the new year, they'll do like the biggest books of the last year for certain genres and whatever. And they did the biggest ebooks and then biggest print and ebook combined. And Freedom McFadden had 8 of the 20 top selling combined print and ebook, which is ridiculous. It is
That's
wild.
just, she must have so much money. But
Well, she
it's
sold like 7 books to TV studios as well and film studios.
mm,
She's
but
rolling
it's
in it. Good for her.
I mean, I wasn't surprised when they announced that they're going to make a sequel
Oh yeah,
because obviously, I mean, the book's there, but also the
it's a
movie had
trilogy.
quite a moment, I think. But I suppose it's the whole like Andy McNab thing again, isn't it? About how, oh, you can't see Andy McNab. No one's allowed to take a photo of Andy McNab because, you know, oh, he's selling secrets and stuff like that. It was all like a big publicity thing because people would then eventually talk about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if this whole Freedom McFadden thing is the same because, like I say, if you put on a wig and then went on This Morning to talk about your book, I'd be like, why is Bill wearing that wig? I wouldn't be like, who's that? So yeah, I think it's all a big publicity thing, but that's just my 2 cents on the
I
situation.
don't know. I'm not one for conspiracy theories. Look, I've still got my Christmas tree up, by the way. Um, I, I who knows? Maybe I'll DM her. Let's find
Yeah,
this
hey
out once
Frida,
and for
hey
all.
Frida. Anyway, the thing that I have been watching is Hamnet.
Yes.
I went to see Hamnet at the cinema, and me and about 10 other elderly people all wept uncontrollably. The lady sat next to me. She was probably about 70, and she absolutely, like, she wept. Like, she got a little hanky out of her sleeve and was dabbing her face. I thought it was just absolutely wonderful. I mean, Hamnet is probably my favorite book of all time. I love it so much. I knew going into this that I would love it unless they did something completely egregious to
Yeah.
it, which they haven't. They've told it slightly differently. Have you read Hamnet?
A while ago, yeah.
So you know that it's non-linear.
Yeah.
They've told it linearly, in a linear fashion, in
Yeah.
chronological order. So it starts with Anis and Will meeting and moves chronologically rather than, which I can see why they've done, because obviously they didn't, I think, to make the movie more, to have a more emotional through line, I think it's good that they've had the same actor and actress playing Will
Yeah.
and Anis. And I think it would have been confusing because basically the whole story happens in kind of the same place with the same people. I think it would have been confusing to not tell that in a linear fashion.
Yeah.
But I did kind of wish they hadn't because I preferred it that way. But it's just an absolutely incredible movie. It looks stunning. Visually, it's just gorgeous. I think the
Thank you,
way that
Chloe
they've
Zhao.
Chloe Zhao, I just love her so much. The way that they've shot it is wonderful. It feels like it, and it probably wasn't because, you know, these things they have on movie sets now are incredible. But it feels like it was mostly shot with natural light, which I think really helped the aesthetic of it. It just
Mhm.
looks absolutely stunning. The camera work is amazing. At time of recording, the Oscar nominations come out tomorrow.
I was literally about to ask you about that. Yeah.
She's gonna win. I'm sorry, there's no question of it. It's one of the most astounding performances I've ever seen from Jessie Buckley. There's a sound she makes about halfway through the movie when, I mean, spoilers, but it's the whole premise of the movie and the book. It's about the death of William Shakespeare's son.
Mhm.
There's a sound that she makes that physically hurt me. It is just, it's probably the best acting performance I think I've ever seen in my life. I thought it was just incredible. I thought it was absolutely incredible. What's his face? What's his name?
Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal, that's it. He's also just incredible in it, but he's incredible in everything he does. I mean, as is Jessie Buckley, but I feel like she's operating on a whole other level here. What was also absolutely incredible is the boy who, at time of when they filmed it, I think he was 11 years old. the boy who plays Hamnet, Jacoby Dupe, one of the best performances from a young actor I've ever seen. He was never not believable. He
Mhm.
was just so good. The whole thing I just thought was absolutely wonderful. I thought it was a really great adaptation of the book. I think it takes I'm not going to say it's better than the book, but I think as an adaptation, I think it's really, really solid. Chloe
Yeah.
Zhao did the adaptation with Maggie O'Farrell. So I think it has its own merits. It stands on its own, I think, but if you've read the book, I think it is just I just thought it was an absolutely incredible movie. I can't see a world where Jessie Buckley doesn't win Best Actress at the Oscars next month or the month
I
after.
think she's like the front runner right now, isn't she?
She is. It's between her, I think, and Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that movie, so I can't comment on the performance. Apparently, it's absolutely incredible. I, I, I genuinely cannot see a world where Jessie Buckley doesn't win for this movie
Mhm.
because she is absolutely incredible, and
Yeah.
I sobbed. I just thought it was. I thought it was great.
Mhm. Yeah. I want to say as well, you mentioned the non-linear thing. Um, I feel like a lot of that is probably just due to they don't want to confuse audiences. I still
Yeah.
remember the whole thing when Little Women came out, the 2019 one, because they obviously have quite a lot of. I wouldn't say it's non-linear, but there's quite a few flashbacks where it's the same actors, and the
Well,
amount of people that were
I
getting
would say
confused.
that movie is non-linear. It tells the two timelines at the same time. But
Yeah.
I thought I mean, we haven't talked about her that much on this podcast, but Greta Gerwig is one of my favorite working directors. I think she's absolutely incredible. And I think how she chose to tell those two stories was really, really great. Those two timelines have completely distinct color palettes.
Hmm.
And I thought that was also the performances of the people in that movie are just excellent. And I think you can
Yeah.
tell from how they're acting which timeline you're in. But because I mean, Hamlet does take place over a long period of time, but I think they made a choice to tell it in a non-linear way. I can be happy or unhappy about that, but that's just the way the movie's told now, so I can't change that. And it works, like it works. I definitely think the second half of the movie is a lot stronger, but I still just absolutely loved it. But be warned going into it, it's an emotional experience.
Is it like gonna get you to watch Chloe Zhao's Buffy TV show?
Um, well, no, because I think they're very different.
I think
Um,
she's gonna make a masterpiece. I think it's gonna be Buffy the Emmy Slayer.
What I really must commend her on is just how broad her work is.
Yeah.
You know, you go from this movie that, you know, not many people have probably seen about people living in caravans to, I mean, to be fair, it did win Best Picture and she won Best Director for it, to a Marvel movie, to a movie about William Shakespeare's wife and his son, to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, but she's
It's
been very vocal about
yeah.
how she got started as a writer and she started writing fan fiction. And I think
Mhm.
those are some of the most versatile and hardworking people ever. I don't really have anything else to say about it other than I loved it. I'm sad people aren't loving it or thinking that it's emotionally manipulative, but again, I can't change people's opinions of it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, what's something you've been doing, William?
Not a whole lot, honestly. It's been a bit hellish on my side, with work, but I
You've been
try and
editing.
just
You've been editing.
yeah, it's, I am currently working on second round of structural edits for One Last Scare, which is the final book in the trilogy, the Let's Work trilogy. Um, it's been a lot. I think we've got this one thing that just keeps. I thought I'd fixed it in the structural edit, but it's like cropped back up again. So I'm trying to fix it right now, and it's just a lot of like fiddly work that I'm just like, I don't want to do this right now. And I've got something else coming up, so I need to finish it up really fast. But I found out that I get to make an announcement in May about something.
Oh, okay.
I've
Okay.
got a
That's
while.
exciting.
Yeah, I've got that to look forward to.
You're pregnant.
Yeah, I get to announce it in what, like 4 months. Ooh, yay.
Yay. Yay. How
What have you been
exciting.
doing?
Not a whole lot either. I started writing something again yesterday, as you know.
I saw.
And it's scary. I am at 2,500 words. What I am not going to do is make it too complicated like I always do. Everything I've started and never been able to finish, I've made too complicated. Tried to just fill the whole thing with how I feel about everything that happens in my life. And that is not what I'm going to do with this idea that I have. It's a very small idea. And I'm just going to try and poodle along with it and see how it goes. Because what I have in the past, I've got like 4 unfinished books sitting on this laptop right here, and they're all at
Mhm.
about 40,000 words, and that's when I get stuck because I've tried to do too much and I just overwhelm myself, and I don't want to do that this time. I actually want to finish something
You're
for
not
my
like
own sake more than anything.
yeah, I say you're not like a plotter at all though, are you?
No, I have ideas and then I just go from there. And normally I know how it ends. And then the struggle is I get all of my ideas out of the way in those 40,000 words and I know how it ends. But there's a gap of about 30 to 40,000 words in the middle there that I just don't know how to fill. So it will happen one day. I'm hoping this is the thing because I like the idea that I have, which I'm not going to discuss because I'm superstitious like that.
Could you tell us the genre?
It's no, it's not high fantasy at all. It's literary fiction.
Mhm.
But I like the idea that I have, and I'm just going to go from there. I'm going to try and just do a couple of thousand words a day and see how far that gets me. But we
Yeah.
shall see. We shall
Hell
see.
yeah.
We shall see. Anyway, I suppose that leads us to say thank you so much for listening to another riveting high octane episode of Fiction Friction. You can find me at Joe Reads on Instagram with 2 S's or joe.reads on TikTok. Where can the people find you, William?
You can find me at Bill Reads on TikTok or Bill Reads LOL on Instagram because Bill Reads was taken.
I mean, if they don't know that by now, like, what are we doing here?
That's just like my new vocal stim. I just say it like looking at my wall.
If you don't know where to find us by now, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We will see you in a fortnight's time.
Goodbye.
I was waiting to see which one of us said goodbye first. Goodbye.